For additional.
Nothing for, you have anything, Scott?
No, just had
Board?
this for the liquor control.
Okay, let's go to public comment on items that are not on the agenda, 3 minutes per person. Mr. Crofter.
I just want to appreciate the select board and especially Bonnie and Rick for doing the survey on town meeting. Well, and also I realize, I'm sure there's other town staff that were involved in the effort, so thanks to all. I found it really meaningful to look at. I did realize, I was just talking with Bonnie, that the survey results as on the town website are only a partial representation. As an example, there were 464 written comments in the full thing, but only 100 of them show on the town.
And I'd like a chance to explain that.
Hmm? Yeah, so anyway, it'd be great if it was all available to the public. I think
And
especially
hopefully it
people
will
that
be.
took part in it would like to see what other people said. There were a lot of interesting takeaways, and I'm only going to touch on very few. There was a question, would childcare make it easier for you to attend town meeting? And 60 people said yes. Would transportation make it easier for you to attend town meeting? And 38 people said yes. So it occurs to me, like two, potentially relatively easy lifts, and that's 98 people that are having trouble getting to town meeting now that would like to be there. So as our, if you recall, I'm part of this small group of people, that sort of a town meeting working group, and we're really looking for ways to make town meeting more accessible and interesting and relevant and inviting. And providing some of those services is one thing that we might be able to do. There was no question on the survey that asked anything about food, but 15 people in their comments brought up food. And 5 others wrote about sort of the social aspects of schmoozing with their neighbors and making social connections at town meeting. So I think there's another thing beyond the childcare and transportation. I think if it had been a question, I'm convinced that a lot more people would have said it was important to them. So our town meeting working group is not likely to try and figure out a way to offer childcare this year. And partly that's because of the timing of the meeting. If the meeting starts at 7, but really starts after the school district, 9 o'clock or whatever, I don't think we're gonna get a lot of parents with babies staying and wanting childcare at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So, but I think for the future, that's something that makes sense to think about and try and figure out how we could do it. But we are planning to offer rides to people this year. And we're planning on providing some refreshments at town meeting. So those are 2 things that we're planning to do, and
Thank you.
Glad to give more details as we work them out, or whatever interest the town has. But as a group of citizens, we're prepared to do that. The biggest takeaway from the survey was the level of dissatisfaction with the time of the annual meeting, Monday evening. There was one other statistic that I pulled from it was that 104 people favored sometime on Saturday versus 23 for keeping the time the same on Monday evening. And so the thing I'll just end with is what I think that means is, and I suggest this to the select board, that the select board plan and warn a special town meeting so that people can vote on that issue of when to hold town meeting in the future, to vote on that this year so that we can do it in 2025 instead of waiting to 2025 to vote on it and making a change in 2026. When it was a special town meeting in June of 1982 when the town voted to shift from Tuesday annual meeting to Monday evening annual meeting, and that was a warned and special town meeting. And the vote was roughly 2 or 3 to 1 in favor of switching it. And I think that the reason to do it sooner rather than later, I think the surveys generated a lot of interest. Our committee is also doing a lot of things, like we're really looking for ways to contact new people in town. We're having an informational meeting about how to participate in town meeting. There's a lot up right now about it. Combining that with the dissatisfaction that people are going to feel about such a late evening meeting this year, Put those two together, and I think you'd have a lot of interest in a town meeting now, a special meeting now, as opposed to waiting until the summer or next fall or something like that. So I urge you to put that on your agenda sometime soon and do that.
Okay, thanks.
Any questions or anything?
I'd like to have Mr. Miller to explain. We did this survey through an outfit called Survey Monkey, and they're pretty costly. And we paid $300 for like the lowest tier. And in order to get what they call a presentation link, which is the link that's now on the homepage, they do condense it somewhat. They condense a lot of the comments and stuff like that. That was a disappointment to me, but I wanted to put something easy there, so you can at least look at the graphs and get a sense of it. I do have on my computer at home all the details, like I've shared them all with Steve, and that's where he gets all his facts from. And I don't know, I have to talk to Scott and Megan or whoever's doing it about, can we put a link to those big documents on the website, and we'll see if we can.
Thanks.
Peter, I have a related question. When during the town meeting will Bonnie and I get a chance to share the
It would
results?
be another business that doesn't involve money,
Okay.
because there's no other item on there right now.
All right,
We've already adopted the warning, so
right,
we can't change it at this point.
right. So we will simply get, when other business is called for, we raise our hands and,
Yeah,
okay.
John Rockingham, Mr. Overholtz will probably recognize you, so
Very good.
he'll be notified.
All right.
But you're also doing that one on the 24th at the library, I understand, is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, where'd you meet? That's the
Yeah,
group
so-
that Laurel's organizing.
I'm here to talk about that,
Okay.
if I may now, yes. Laurel Green,
Still on
I
public comment.
live here in Bellows Falls, and I'm part of the working group, and kind of the part that I'm really working on is a public education meeting on Saturday, February 24th, 10:30 to noon at the library, second floor meeting room. And we're gonna talk a little bit about the town of Rockingham. Some people don't understand that there are villages within the town, that kind of basic thing. I've contacted people on the select board, the trustees, town manager, the town moderator, and invited them to come to help with this. And to that end, knowing that town meeting has its own culture. So we're gonna have a non-binding mock practice article to be considered that morning and decided there on the spot. So if we have 10-year-olds who wanna vote, they get to vote for that practice article. And the issue that is being brought up is gonna be something that I've taken out of the hazard mitigation plan and putting it forward like it was an article. So I just wanted to let you know that I know that there was concern about public meeting rules, and have asked each of the boards to only send the 2 representatives so it won't be a conflict of interest. That's my understanding. That's beyond my capacity, so I'm letting the boards work that out for themselves. But we have publicity rolling already for this, and hope that we have a good turnout. And it's open to anybody who wants to learn more about town meeting. I kind of took from what Steve said, we're really targeting new people to Rockingham, but it's really anybody. Somebody who's been afraid to come because they don't understand the culture of town meeting, don't know how to participate. I also have my fingers crossed that we can set up a separate time for people to come just learn how to use the microphone, because that's a skill, and it's something that is a prohibiting thing for some people. They have never heard their own voices through a loudspeaker, and getting a chance to just practice. So we're hoping to have that following the meeting on the 24th. And I just wanted to keep you updated on what's happening with that. Questions? I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you for doing this.
Welcome. Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you. Anyone else? Guess not. Let's go on to the manager's report.
So a couple things, we are finalizing the paving bids, and those should be going out like we did last year early. Hoping to see that, we had good numbers last year, hopeful to see that again this year. We'll add some additional options in there if the board wants to consider, based on how the numbers come back, if you want to add some additional paving, as we talked about at the last tri-board meeting, with some additional paving in Saxon River. So we'll add those as an option, so you have that available to you, and we award the bids if the numbers look favorable. We are confirming that the meeting, we had talked about also the tri-board meeting for the fire equipment committee and the presentation and the discussion with the AP Triton reps. We are going to be on for Thursday the 22nd, so that'll be a noticed meeting. It will be a public meeting. It'll have a posted agenda so people can come and attend. And right now we're anticipating doing that in the third floor conference room upstairs for that meeting. And that'll be that Thursday night, 22nd. And we'll probably start that meeting at 6. So we'll have more information for you as we post that. But waiting on some final confirmation from some of the other fire equipment committee folks. So those are the things at the moment.
Any questions?
Scott, I understand that the report on the fatal accident in the square went from the state police to our chief. What's the status on that?
I'm not aware that he's received it yet, so normally they post those, or that they have some sort of a system that the state DOT people can get copies of it once it's posted by the state police. It has to go to the state attorney before it gets posted to see if there's any other review from any other charges that might be brought. So at this point, I'm not aware that it's publicly available.
Okay, and so when might it be publicly available?
It's up to the state attorney. She makes that decision. Once she has all that information and she's decided, then she'll let us know when we can make it public.
So will it become public through your office or the chief's office?
He'll give it to me, so I'll make sure that it gets distributed.
Okay.
Yeah.
From what Dave has told us, that the state has 30 days to get the report to the state's attorney. God only knows how long they get it back from there.
All right, thanks.
They're usually fairly quick, but again, in these cases, they just don't commit to a time schedule, so.
Anything else, Scott?
But that's it. That's up to you.
Anyone, questions from the board for manager?
I've got one. I noticed that there are some pedestrian traffic counters out on the sidewalks. Is that through Linden Regional?
Right, it's part of that ongoing pedestrian work that we're doing as part of our overall comprehensive plan that we're working on, so I think we're doing some updates.
So that will be part of also the data that was collected this summer with the pedestrian counters?
Some of that's already available. I think the pedestrian committee is going to be looking at some of that, I think, coming up. But this will be additional data on top of that, yeah.
Colin Bratton from Linden Regional is doing that. He's going to be reporting to Walk Bike and all that.
Yep.
Anyone else? All right, now, the first thing we gotta do is ratify 5 articles that we passed at our June 16th meeting. And we need to ratify them because the warning was not posted within the allotted 48-hour pre-meeting time. It got posted on Monday, and it should have been done by Sunday. Anyway, so that being said, I think we do this all in one motion. We have 6 liquor licenses. We need the approval. We also need to ratify the town meeting warning that was adopted. The application for the BRIC grant, a lease and purchase agreement for the BF train station, the NP1 form for CPP grants, and I also mentioned the liquor licenses that we need to do. So someone wants to make the motion to approve those items?
So moved.
I'll second.
Is that good enough?
Yes, I'm gonna have to, you don't have to repeat it. Motion made and seconded to ratify the liquor control action, town meeting warning adoption, application for a BRIC grant, a lease and purchase agreement for the railroad station, MP1 for use of BCDP funds, and bad luck. We have a second. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of to ratify would say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carried. that was not a vote against, that was for, so just wanted to ask the question. Now we get into the regular, agenda. Item is going to be animal control officer candidates. We have two, I believe, here tonight. I'm gonna guess the other one is,
Yes.
or do we just have one? Okay.
So Diana's here and.
Deanna Jones is one, and, oh, let me see here. Carissa Pavlovic, is that correct? It's almost like the COVID-19. So, Ms. Jones, seems you're the first article I see on the front here. You might as well give us a brief description of why you want to take that nasty job on.
Well, I've been doing it for a while. Well, basically, I mean, I've done it for a long time. I've done independent rescue for at least 10 years in the town, anyway. It was kind of just one of those things where it came up and I felt it probably would be a good fit. I have a relationship with Windham County Humane Society already. I've been, bringing any animal that I've ever worked with there for a long time. Worked a lot with the community on rescue. I mean, that's basically what I offer. I mean, I've done a lot of cat stuff. I mean, especially since we did have somebody dealing with the dogs, but I've been dealing with cats for a very long time. Dogs as well, but the majority of cats, because nobody wants to take care of them.
So, Rick, I see your hand
Yeah.
flapping there.
Yep, so the equipment that is needed to perform this job, will that be passed out from the previous occupant of that position to the new person, or is it owned by our previous person?
No, there's not that much, but there is some stuff.
I think there's a noose, I think, and,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, the rabies pole and I was
Now,
told.
the other thing, my question is you may or may not know, the Windham County Humane Society is not accepting animals currently because they're renovating the building. And I
They-
understand that they're not gonna take any until June, is that right, Scott?
Well, what they're doing is they'll take some, Peter, but they're not doing the adoptions like they normally do. So they're
Okay.
not taking them for adoption. So they are taking things that are
All right.
on hold
That
for
was my
rabies
question, was
holds
where are you
or
gonna store the animals that
or
you
loose
have?
animals, but they're
Where do
very
you store the
limited.
cats you have now?
So, I mean, every apartment I've ever had, I've had a space, but I have a room, that's in my barn in the back that is semi-heated, it's not fully heated, but it's safe enough in there to actually hold animals overnight. I also have volunteers I've been working with for so many years who also have places I can keep animals in case, maybe I could do a rescue, but I can't bring this animal to my home or elsewhere. A holding place has always kind of been an issue, but it's never been a problem for me because I've always just taken them to my home, basically. And I did speak with Carrie about the renovations that they've been having. So she did give me the lowdown on what they're, technically any kitten or injured animal, they do have to take. So that's not anything different. The only thing that's different is taking in adoptable animals, especially if they're not having enough space.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just so you do both know that we will be re-advertising the positions. There are 4 positions currently in committee appointments that we have open, so the press release will be going out Friday, advertising the animal control, tree officer, tree warden. He did both of those. Connecticut River Commission, there's that one, and I can't remember the 4th one, but there's 4, I have them written down here
Town
someplace.
service officer.
Okay.
Town service
Oh,
officer.
town service officer, yeah, I know. Consequently, we haven't had one of those, and can't find one, I guess, this board then becomes the service officer if I read the statute correctly, so just another headache we got, but anyway, so. Now we'll hear from the other party that's here tonight, and we aren't gonna make a decision, but as soon as if we don't get any applications, we can move quickly on that, so.
Well, I'm Carissa Pavlovic. I am a resident of Rockingham. I really applied only because I saw a need. I don't actually personally have a need for a position, but I just thought it was someplace I could help out. I do have a lot of experience with animals and have many of my own. I have lots of life experience with them, and that's why I just put my foot forward and just putting myself out there to try to help the town in a place where I saw a need. I currently work full-time, so I do have to say that moreover, I would be more inclined to being like fielding calls and organizing things rather than maybe going out and doing specific things, only because I have small children and a job and I go to school. But I am very willing to put myself out there and help in any way that I can. Maybe not even specifically in this position, but in something else that maybe the town needs.
That's service
thank you.
officer.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting looking at your resume that everybody has in there, a lot of dental office.
I know a lot
Thing in
about
there,
teeth.
thinking, why would anybody that's been in dental office want to chase dogs? I mean, but that's, you know, if that's your game, I guess. So there is, just so you know, there is a nominal stipend for the town for this position. It's about 1,500, I think it is.
We increased it.
Yeah. And that, you know, I don't know if there's, what's covered in, I don't know what Cass ever turned in for bills if he.
Oh, that actually was can I ask a
Oh,
question real
whatever.
quick?
Sure.
Was the past ACO holding any logs of what he was doing? Do you know any open cases or complaints?
Not aware of anything that was open. Peter and I have a couple complaints that we've been dealing with here that are more
We
loose.
haven't gone knock on the door yet, but that's our next
More
stop.
loose dog complaints than anything at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever seen any law.
No.
It would make sense, because if it's, being passed to somebody else, if there are like open cases that could be potential abuse, I mean, I'm not gonna know, or, Carissa wouldn't know. So, all right, that's just something to look forward.
Yeah, I think it would be really important to have better logs, because you might have repeat offenders that we don't know about, and there's other ways, and we know nothing, actually. I've never gotten a real report, so I think going forward, the next animal control officer would be helpful. I think we would want to require, because you are getting a stipend,
Right.
Yeah,
more than the select board
He
is.
did come in and give us, anecdotal stories where he found the dog and took 2-3 days to chase it. They'll finally get the owner to claim it and whatever, but I mean, he did do some due diligence, and those he did report.
Right.
Maybe only the success, but, I don't know what happened to the rest of it, so like I say, as Sue said, we didn't get much of a report back from,
Yeah.
I think that would be required going forward.
I mean, even if I don't get into that ACO position, I would love to help kind of structure if I don't. Just saying, I have a lot of experience with kind of that kind of stuff, so.
So we won't appoint this until March, is that this point, or?
By the time we probably put the press release out and then meet again as a board, it'll probably be close to that.
When we do them, normally do it for each year.
Yeah.
I'm still
That
getting
won't be-
complaints, by the way.
What?
Just to let you know.
Well, we appreciate both of you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, really.
Yeah, the other thing too, I don't know how familiar, but Scott, on these other two complaints we've got, Scott's already down and checked with Kathleen about are the dogs registered, and what we found out they weren't.
Right.
So that's another thing that I know a couple, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we had the sheriff chase down the unlicensed dogs. And then at that point, we had like 200 of them that weren't licensed.
There's a lot, I can tell you that. There's
yeah.
still a lot.
So if they aren't licensed, they probably don't have the rabies shot either, you gotta guess, so.
So, Vermont League of Cities and Towns is an organization that we belong to, provides all kinds of resources. They have a workshop on drug control law and enforcement done by their senior staff attorney. We get discounts, I'm sure we would pay for someone to attend that.
Absolutely.
So that give anyone, the person who does take this job, this would be a very great resource to know how to.
Well, and I did ask Carrie Roberts at Wyndham County if you know, they had any idea of good educational things for an ACO to go to as well. I'm just waiting to hear from her on that, because either way going forward, you know, I want to get a little bit more education on certain things.
Rick, is that can be done by Zoom, so they don't have to travel to Montpelier or wherever
I
it's
believe
now?
most of them are virtual now.
Yeah, so
Correct.
I can send the link
Yeah.
to you, Scott, if you want, when you hire someone, you can
Yeah.
make that clear.
That would be good.
All right.
I mean, take a course now, don't go all the way to Montpelier or Burlington, that's, anyway.
Unless you're making it into a vacation.
They don't hold them locally, it's unfortunate, but. All right, anything else on the animal control? Candidates, thank you both for coming in tonight, and we will let you know as soon as we get a decision made. Now we need to adopt the certificate of highway mileage.
So this is one of your many requirements. Nothing has changed in terms of our previous mileage. We haven't added anything or subtracted anything, so you can see where we have our current allocation of all of our roads. We do have to have a resolution and adopt it, and then you guys have to sign it so I can submit it to the state.
Nothing to see here.
Don't push her now, come on. One way to get ready to your competition, but.
It's getting rough.
Okay, so, we need a motion to adopt the certificate of highway mileage and authorize the select board to sign it.
I move that we adopt the certificate of highway knowledge and have the board sign it.
And I second that motion.
Motion made and seconded to, adopt the certificate of highway mileage, it's in your packet. And you have the original, Scott?
I do.
Okay.
I don't think we sign it though, right?
You guys do, actually.
Yeah, it's signature, selectmen, all the trustees, and then the town clerk signs it, and
Oh, I see.
they file it.
Everybody's got to do
So,
that.
then just have Sue start it right there. All right, let's move down to final budget adoption. We never really formally adopted the budget.
I don't think we voted on that, did we?
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, we did.
Motion been made and seconded to adopt certificate, I asked about it, but I didn't move on to the vote, to adopt certificate of highway mileage. Any further discussion? Seeing none, seeing as it's going around for signatures, I guess, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now we'll go to the budget adoption. The figure is on the town warning that's been filed, so the motion reads as follows. The budget is $6,357,903 let me do that again. $6,537,903 with the amount of $5,463,840 to be raised by taxes. So I'll need a second.
I'll second that.
And motion's been made and seconded to adopt the official town budget. Is there any discussion?
That's different than what's on this
Yeah.
estimated tax. But, so which one is it?
Which one are you reading it from, Peter?
I wrote it from the town warning.
Let me see. You might have the old one.
All
I
right,
think you're up by 1,000. I think it's 6,356,903. With the 5,461,840 to be raised.
okay, is this one with a $7 million budget?
When you go,
Everything's passed, yeah.
yes, if all the articles pass.
All right, so,
But I think the only thing that we're doing for our purposes, right, is the operating budgets that will be going into.
all right, so we will do the one where GF, general fund, cemetery and highway.
Mhm.
Yes.
All right, let me restate the numbers. The numbers that we're going to be approving in the budget will be $6,536,903 with $5,461,840 to be raised by taxes.
Yes.
There are articles that will be passing that are hopefully passed, or maybe not passed, that will change that figure at town meeting.
Right, you have the library, social services,
Right.
and then 2 other additional.
And articles 8 and couple 3 articles that for train station, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
Okay, do I have a second to that motion?
I second it.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the budget of $6,536,903 with $5,461,840 to be raised by taxes. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carried. Hey, grant agreement approvals. Recreation Trails Grant.
So one of these is actually, I'm gonna need a motion because there is a required town match. And the second one is more for background, just because some of our staff has been working with the Historical Society, and we just wanted you to be aware of what was being worked on. So we'll start with the first one first. So the first one is Vermont Agency of Natural Resources. So it's a Parks and Recreation grant. This is our full submission. We had gone through a previous review of this prior with back in December. And so they had done a sort of pre-application review, and at that point, then they invite you to do your full application. So as you can see, there's a couple things on here that I think are high profile, that I think would be excellent projects that people would see right away. So you'd have some knotweed abatement on the riverfront trail. You'd have some more trail clearing, and additional signage both on riverfront and Oak Hills. So hopefully we can help increase participation in ridership. Kiosks as well, that also help point out some of the other options at the rec area. And then the trail restoration, which is very interesting because of some of the problems in the July floods. There was some damage down through in some of the more natural areas down through our areas close to the water there. So the goal there is to try to create some zones where maybe future flood events might not damage some of the infrastructure, and then ultimately print and distribute some additional trail maps. So total grant project is being looked at $23,650. We would have an $18,350 request from the state, and our match, if we're successful, would be $5,300. So lots of different activities, I think all interesting and hopefully appreciated. You know, it would be a nice improvement for a variety of our public spaces.
Question, Scott?
Yes.
So down by the river, would there be a new basin created where floodwaters would go instead of overlapping the trail? What would the plan be down
I think they're gonna work with some landscape folks to see what options they might be able to provide. I don't think they wanna do hardscape.
Good.
I think they wanna do more greenscape and more opportunities to maybe channel some of the water so that it's not as impactful when it overflows. So we'll share all those before we finalize any of those improvements.
Great, thanks.
So,
Yeah, and this is a cash match, or can it be in kind?
It potentially could be some in kind as well, because we potentially might have some efforts to help offset some of that cash, so we could certainly try to do that as well.
Where would our match come from?
Those would be highway funds more than likely. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I was thinking, it seemed to make the most sense.
Yes. And if we
Transportation.
do, you know, if we have some, you know, labor or other ways that we can offset some of the costs of the highway guys, again, it'd be a summer project if we're successful.
any other questions? So there is a recommended motion on the sheet in front of you. Someone wants to read that motion?
I move to authorize the municipal manager to execute all documents and a $5,300 town match appropriation for the grant described.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to authorize the municipal manager to execute all documents and a $5,300 town match for the trails, recreation trails grant. Any further, we'll hear a second. Oh, there was a
I
second by
second,
Bonnie.
yeah.
Any further discussion, questions? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carried.
And then the other item, which is just more informational, but wanted to give a chance for the board just to be updated. So the Historical Society obviously owns the grist mill and the grist mill museum. That building has a substantial and long list of improvements that are necessary. Our folks in development have been working with them to see if there are some grants available to help with some of the primary work. You know, I think they're trying to make the structure more watertight so they can do some other renovation work. And along, as you can see, there's a whole host of projects that they would like to do that really require that exterior envelope to be updated. So this particular grant would help them in some of that brickwork and some of the drainage along the foundation of the building. So not terribly exciting, won't necessarily get lots of people excited, but it's vital for the long-term health of that building. So we've been working with the Historical Society on that, and I don't know when that grant application date is. Betsy might remember. You know when that one goes in, Betsy? No.
I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, we sent in a letter of interest and they accepted it,
Right.
so I'm not sure when the deadline is. But the town isn't putting any money into it.
No, it's just a pass-through and more for informational purposes for the board and hopefully.
There is a match, but the Historical Society is gonna pay it.
But there's a long-term, as you know, the board can see there's quite a few items on here that are gonna need some
Oh, yes.
addressing. Yeah. So, but it's progress being made, and hopefully if this grant is successful, it'll be another step forward for the building.
Thanks to Gary for working on this.
Yeah, it's great. He's
Yes.
been such a big help.
Okay, move right along to the review and approve orders and bills of warrants. Take a motion?
I move that we approve the orders, bills, and warrants.
I second that motion.
Motion made and seconded to approve orders, bills, and warrants. Any questions? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Sign away. They can start on that file. Okay, agenda items for February 20th, 24 meeting. We want to put that
We'll have the appointments on there, we'll have the liquor
request for a
control.
special meeting to be held,
We can,
if there's any interest of the board.
Sign these ones.
Okay.
we need a date, Peter. We have a potential date for that?
For the special meeting?
Yes. Because you have Tuesdays in February are all booked up with select board meetings and trustee meetings.
Can we
So
try it on a Saturday?
you got an event on the 23rd where you have that town meeting informational and I guess workshop, and then you don't have many other, the next Saturday after that, I believe, is the 1st of March,
March 2nd, oh, isn't it? Yeah.
which I don't know how that would impact. Yeah, there's been,
Any suggestions?
What's the matter with the second? What's the problem with March 2nd? It's too close to the town meeting, or
I think it might confuse people.
yeah,
what?
I think it might confuse people.
Confuse people, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
All right, then March 9th, would that work? Saturday, March 9th? All the voting will be done by then.
Yeah. How about that?
could you do a special meeting on the night that you do a regular meeting? So you could potentially do. So,
Because we're planning to do the organization meeting on the 5th, right?
yeah,
Because that shouldn't be too long, it's fine.
right, I mean, I suppose we
We're not
kept that
gonna have
agenda.
appointments, I can tell you that, there's no
We
regular.
kept that agenda somewhat limited, right, I suppose we could.
Right, yeah.
So,
It's basically, who gets elected, gets appointed different positions there.
Yeah, but do we have, I mean, I know we want to do it quickly, but do we have to do it this quickly?
Yeah, what's a big rush?
I'm just throwing throwing it out there just for
Yeah.
dates, that's all. I know we've got the,
Well, why don't we look at April then?
all right, we can certainly do that.
All right, well,
Weather would be nice for people.
Yeah.
we'll set it up.
Usually true? Maybe,
So do we need are we gonna need a warning for that?
that's why the date,
Okay.
you have to have so many,
So that, we need to get that posted
you really need 30 days.
30 days and no more longer than 40, correct, Steve?
A special town meeting has to be warned no less than 30 and no more than 40 days.
Making sure, I remember what you told me.
Now, in April, we have the Fiddler on the Roof here. And would that be, if the meeting happened here, would there be any conflict with all these people?
We're having our meeting with the stage up there
Right.
already, so.
That'll be fun.
We have to work around showtimes, I don't
Yeah.
know if you would have an afternoon show or whatever,
I
we'll
can
figure that out.
I can say what
I don't have all the showtimes for that, honestly.
I do.
So are we planning to do it? I don't know how many people we expect to get there, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if it wasn't any more than we had last year at 120, we could do it down here,
I would do it upstairs.
but it probably ought to be able to do it upstairs. It's gonna be-
Well, why don't we just look at all the dates and everything we have to work with
All
and
right.
try to figure out
Yeah,
something
yeah,
by
that
the
sounds
next
good.
meeting.
All right. All right, let's go to items for the next meeting, besides that.
Peter, can we just add the downtown transportation fund? That grant needs to be
Yes, we'll approve that
on
one.
the 20th, thank you.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right, then we'll convene here on the 20th and see where we go from there. Review agenda items for the joint board meeting. We got, that's in April, so we got a little time on that one.
Yes.
I'm sorry, having missed that meeting. The next step on the fire committee, the fire report, consultant's report is,
It's the updated report. You get the second report, and it's, I can tell you now, there's a lot more in there than was the first. So when I got the packet, mine was, what that thing, I go, what the hell's in this thing? And that's when Gary says, well, it's the fire report, and I go, okay.
okay, so what is the next step on that?
Well, I don't know, you gonna hand out the board on the 20th? or-
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get your reading material.
All right,
Trust
so
me.
we will
The
discuss
second
it.
draft,
Second draft.
We will discuss it on the 20th?
and then they'll be here for the meetings on the 21st and 22nd, the actual folks.
Oh, good, and we can meet with them if possible.
Absolutely, that's why we're gonna have that public meeting on the 22nd, so people can have a chance to have conversation.
Great.
And then don't forget the V-Trans and VHB are coming in April at the tri-board.
Yes,
That'll be a
they
update.
did commit to doing that, so, yeah. But we have some time, and that's the final bridge, Depot Bridge, sort of all the final items, and hopefully with a real schedule for construction, we're close. They were in town the other day, and I think a lot of progress has been made, so
So things are moving.
they're moving.
Barring another
Thank you.
massive flood.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, let's move on to other business. Rep,
Nothing for me.
fine.
No.
Just want to remind people that the wonderful taxes are due on the 12th, that's next Monday, in case anybody wants to get in early. Reading the Westminster Town Meeting, select board minutes, I guess you guys didn't get your grant,
No, we didn't.
study grant, that's a study grant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We did get the Safe Streets for All grant.
okay. I didn't mention it, they just said that one liner just said you didn't get a grant.
Yeah,
Um,
oh, we're gonna reapply.
Okay. There will be a press release going out, hopefully, maybe I can get it in there Friday, it has to go in by Friday noon. It's explaining about the town meeting, we're gonna get the town, warning posted in the shopper for 2 weeks, I hope, prior to the meeting, to answer some of the questions on that survey, they say, I don't know what we're voting on,
Yeah.
not that anybody's gonna read it anyway, but doing our part, and so we'll make sure we get those in there for the last 2 weeks of the month, so it won't be such a lag getting in there, but we'll be advertising those 4 positions I mentioned earlier, and a little bit about the the town report, and there'll be a notice of where the town reports will be put out in the public for 10 days prior to the meeting, and they're at the usual spots: town hall, library, Leaside, Saxon River Village Market. So that will be in the press release going out.
Will there be a link so people can access it online, the town report?
We got one from them last time, so we'll put one on the website once they send that to us. Usually we have to do a final before they do the printing, and then by then we should have the link.
So,
Steve just couldn't hear.
I can't hear anything you say, Scott.
Oh, I'm sorry, Steve. Yes.
Actually, if you took your hands away.
There
I
will
can
be a
sort of
link,
read what's
there
in
will
it.
be a link on the website once the printer finalizes the final draft.
Oh, great, okay.
Yeah, so we'll put it on.
Yeah.
How many copies are being printed, just for information?
I believe we did
300, I think, last year, and
we
I
did
kept, we
300, I
ran
think we
out.
raised it, so. I think we
That's
raised it
because I
this year.
chased them and refilled everybody every time I
We did
checked.
350 last year.
Every 2 or 3 days, yeah. I know, we had
Right.
maybe 20 or 30 left out front here to hand out when people came in.
Right, realize we should probably take some to the informational meeting.
If they're available on the 24th, it would be great.
I don't think it'll be, I'm not sure, well, it's
If
close.
If they are.
Yeah,
And if we have too many, we can then
It'll be
take them
close.
over to Leaside or someplace.
yeah, because they have to be out here fairly close to them to start distributing them, right? 'Cause
I
it's-
mean, they'll be, if they're ready before your meeting, they'll be at the library anyway.
Great, okay, oh,
For sure.
great, good,
Because if they're ready, I get them right out there, so start.
great.
And we let people know when they're available on the website, because so many people access them that way. I think that would be.
Well, the other thing, this press release, I also gonna put it on Facebook and Bell's Falls, in fact, I'll get my buddy here, Elijah, to put it on the Bell's Falls. Facebook, and Amy will put it on Sax River, so we'll get a fairly good spread of the press release telling where stuff is gonna be and
link
that stuff.
Yeah.
And also the advertising for the applications, I mean, put it on Indeed, a lot of people aren't gonna go there for chasing dogs and stuff, so see if we get some local to pick it up.
Good.
And town meeting assignments, everybody, is there anybody that doesn't wanna do one? The committee will be there, the review committee will be there. I've got, emails from both, Debbie and Johnson Wright will be at the meeting to answer any questions. We also are having a handout that's much into the press release about the social service agency with the explanations and how they figured it out. So that'll be out there, it'll be a handout at the town meeting for people to pick up and bring in.
Protocol question, will the representatives from any of the groups be able to stand up and say, here's why you should vote for it, or will?
Well, if you recall, every year when these things go out, when they go out, and I think it's in November, it's a letter that goes out, standard letter from the office goes out requesting that they, number one, prepare a written statement that goes in the town report.
Right.
It's prescribing what they do, and also to suggest that they have someone at the meeting to answer questions or whatever, in addition to our review committee.
Because in previous years, we voted them as one big block. This year, when they're coming one at a time, I think there's more opportunity for people to ask questions and.
That's true, and as we've talked before, we're working on the policy to maybe change it, instead of doing all 17 of them at one night, we'll just vote on the lump like we did the previous year, but you can still make changes to that total. If you want to change one of the articles, that one of the applicants, you can change the dollar amount and we'll change it
From the floor.
from the floor.
Okay.
So,
Right, good.
so, that way there, instead of having 17 articles to vote singly like we're gonna do this year, we'll just vote on the total, and whatever the total ends up being changed by changes. If no changes are made, then we'll have that. But we will have the review every 5 years, so we can, in case something changes. We also talked about maybe looking at the Westminster process down there. What Westminster does is make some petition for 3 straight years before they get funded. And if at any time they don't make a pass on the vote, then they have to start the 3-year process all over again. And when you look at your handout, you're gonna see that it makes a big difference on the amount of money and the amount of people that apply. So anyway. Okay, but, so, okay, get next.
Just one thing. I know Scott's probably sick of hearing about this. Sorry, Scott.
Yeah, he's so smart.
We have made great progress on replacing a lot of bulbs and streetlights. We definitely have a lot more that needs to be done. And right now it's looking pretty dark down here on the square because so many of them have gone out just in the past couple of months. And now with all the holiday lighting's down, it's really starting to show the difference. And, you know, you've done so many of them, but there are a lot of bulbs and they're failing so quickly that it's hard to keep up with them. But it would be nice if we could manage to get a few more of them replaced, especially just by town meeting actually would be really nice.
Yeah, I'll see. I think, at the moment, we're in a sort of a nice, quiet time, so we're not killing the highway guys with plowing, so maybe we can see what we can do.
Thanks.
So I just have a question about that. Are these dark night sky compliant bulbs,
Well,
lights?
I have looked into some options for that, and when they kind of already started on some of these areas with the ones that are not dark sky compliant, but when we start in some of the other areas, especially areas that are maybe more outside of the square or whatever, I would like to try some of the ones that are dark sky compliant to see how they work.
I know that years ago, the Conservation Commission went to every light in the whole town to convert to the dark sky compliant, and that's a concern of the Conservation Commission.
Yeah.
So pushing in that direction is a really good idea.
You know, I've done a lot of research, so
Thank you.
I can, if you want to see some of the stuff that some of the information I have is pretty interesting.
So,
Nope, I'm all set.
okay,
So I forgot one thing.
yeah, go ahead.
Scott, the website update process, there's a lot of confusion about that. And is Megan the point person for that?
For most things. Right.
So I'm wondering if it could be clear, because some of the stuff, if people visit the website, and we don't want to bug you with every little tweak, what should we do when we see something that needs updating?
Just send her an email and just copy.
Or copy you?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. That's the easiest thing. But sometimes Gary will do it,
I
sometimes.
know you can copy me.
Right.
All right.
That's
Do
it.
we have it listed anywhere on the website, who's running for election? I don't think we do.
We just got the sample ballots posted, so we could post that on the website. Yeah,
Just so maybe on the homepage, say it,
right,
just make people aware, because we
Right.
do have 2 open seats here.
yes.
Is it, I'm not sure, but I sort of assume that the documents that you get, unless it's for executive session, are public documents that you bring to
The
the
packet.
select board meeting. Yeah, you guys get a packet. Is there a way for the public to have access to that material? Like we sit here and even if I hear you, I can't tell what you're talking about because I don't have any paper in front of me and it's not online. I mean, the agenda's online usually,
Right.
but no explanation or no other documents that explain it.
Traditionally, this board and the boards here have not made full agendas copied and then posted to the website. They've done just agendas and then the minutes. That's.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Scott, we can't hear
Right.
you.
So typically, what ends up happening is the boards have always just posted agendas and then the minutes. That's what they've done here traditionally, so.
We
Some
used
of
to
our-
do,
some of
we used
our
to do more of
packets.
the full board, packet when we had a full staff. And then for a while, we didn't have that, so we went down to just the agenda and the minutes.
Right.
But now we have more people, I believe, who could potentially do that again. There wasn't a reason, that was mainly the only reason we did, because we didn't have somebody who could reliably post those
Right.
for many years.
So now with Megan in that role, presumably we can do that.
It creates a lot of scanning, and then when you start,
Yeah.
you gotta be careful, because then you got planning commission and all
Oh,
sorts of,
right.
you can get yourself into a full-time position of
Some of
just,
some of the packets are like this thick.
right,
Like when we're working with V-Trans,
Right.
they give us all these color
Right,
like 8 or 9 color pictures of this way of the bridge, that way of the bridge.
right.
It's,
Too much, yeah.
it gets to be a little bit much. I think we probably have to pay more to box for our document storage.
Yeah.
Could we print one additional copy that could be passed around, at least so the people here could have some?
I was gonna say, if it just sat on the table
Yeah.
and
Could certainly do
share it
that.
around the.
That would be the easiest thing.
That
Sure.
I mean, we used to do that,
All right.
I'm sorry, what?
but that could have, when COVID came in, we just, nobody attended meetings.
Right.
So we just,
Yeah,
we did a lot of
that
things
would
by
be
Zoom,
one
so
way
you
to
couldn't
do
get
it.
back.
That would be great, I mean,
I
that,
think trying to put everything that comes in the packet would just be overwhelming.
Make one extra, that works for you, Scott. We
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
one
So-
extra packet, that would be
And
great.
when are your packets available?
Friday afternoon.
So maybe that could be made available at the town clerk's office.
They would be here on Tuesday at the meeting, unless you wanted to come in the town clerk's office or whatever and pick
On
one up.
Monday, you can
On
certainly come
Monday.
look at it.
That's what I'm
Monday.
saying, it's a lot of materials. I mean, I don't know how much, I can imagine you invest a lot of time reading over the weekend. If it's not available to me as a person in the public until Monday morning, that's
It
it.
probably can't be,
Yeah.
but we don't get them till like 4 or 5 o'clock on Friday night.
Very nice.
That's when they're
And the town
final.
clerk's not open on Friday.
No, I
Yes.
understand that, but I mean, if it was available first thing Monday morning in the town clerk's office, somebody would
I
have
think it could
to
be
work
first thing
in.
Monday
Always
morning.
gets a packet. When I drop yours off, I put hers in her chair on Friday nights, so she has them.
So we can try and have them available at the clerk's office on Monday
Yep.
morning.
And the idea of having it here also. is
And
stuff,
have them here.
And then have it right here.
And
That
can
sounds
I
great.
just ask, legally, you don't have to copy all the liquor licenses and, like, there's a bunch of stuff that probably doesn't need to go to the, I mean, right? I don't think you guys need 3 pages to.
I'll be honest with you though,
Applying,
if you're making a packet, you have to.
you have to have everything in
I
it.
would make it the same.
Yeah.
Because then it becomes, well, why are you censoring this information for the public when the board has this information? It becomes a
Okay,
challenge that's not, it's
Okay.
unnecessary. Whatever's in our packet is public, so it should go in the packet.
right.
Yeah,
But it's
the
in-
packets
yeah.
have
I
a
just
lot
saw
of
saving
junk in
it.
it.
I know,
Paper.
I know, but I've run into that.
I know.
Liquor licenses.
I've run into that and it's turned into a challenge. People
Yeah.
actually become upset.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah.
Yep, disregard that off the record.
Why'd you take that?
good idea.
It's not in the minutes.
Good idea.
So, no one has any objection to me assigning you an article to present. I'll out for next meeting.
Thank you.
As you present the meeting, I mean, if anybody wants to speak to it, they can make a comment, but the review committee will be there. I think the most ones we're gonna have, is, you know, I mean, I don't have a problem taking the main budget article.
I want to thank Peter for going through all the appointments
Yeah,
and the
really.
terms. Hey, how many hours did you spend?
More than I wanted to, I tell you, I had 3 different renditions before I got done. But anyway, going back to 2017, going through a minute, trying to find out when everybody was appointed, and then somewhere between there and now, the terms got mixed up, the 4-year to a 3-year term, and some people will think they're up or not actually up. So,
Thank you for doing that.
it got crazy, but anyway, it's hopefully straightened out at this point, so. We won't have as many to appoint when we go around the next time, like we did the last time, so, yes, now, there's no need for an executive session I can think of, so I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second,
Second.
motion made and seconded to adjourn, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all those opposed, nay. Motion carries, we are done, thank you, folks.
Record.